What's up, guys? Welcome back to Sunday Sports Club Podcast, a podcast all about sports told by a woman, and that woman is me. Hi, guys. I'm Allison Kuch. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we have on a very special guest, Megan Olivi. She is 8 weeks postpartum. And I love having moms on the show, moms in the sports world specifically, because I feel like we have a lot in common and there's so much that we can relate on. So you've been on maternity leave for the past 3 months. How has that been? Are you sleeping?
Right. I mean, as much as I can. He's a great sleeper at night. He doesn't love naps. So I'll take the nighttime sleep though.
Absolutely.
He's in the phase where he's only really getting up once or twice a night. So like again, love it. But the thing that I wish they would tell you about newborns, no matter how great they sleep, is that they are so loud.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I feel like I sleep next to a pissed off truck driver because he's just, like, grunting and, like, making these crazy noises the whole night, but he's dead asleep. I'm not because I'm just like, "Why is he making these noises?" So, that's kind of an adjustment, and once you realize, like, okay, he's really sleeping, this is just, like, a weird newborn thing they do,
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I've slept a little better, but otherwise, like, maternity leave has been amazing, but it's I think until you live it, you think like, "Oh, how hard can it really be?" And then
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, "Oh, no, that's the hardest thing I've ever done," and, like, God bless every mother ever, especially moms who have more than one kid, like, I this is we just have a newborn. I
Yes.
I don't I don't know how anyone else functions.
Like, this is our only responsibility, and, like, I'm terrified, and we're
Yes.
figuring it out. Yeah, the idea of multiples is a little scary, I think. Once you come out of, like, the first year of your first year of parenthood, it's kind of like, "Oh, wow, people choose to do that again."
Right, right.
Because it's a little scary, but then you get to the part where my daughter just recently, like, started talking and stringing together words, and she's speaking sentences, and I'm like, "Wow, like, you're kinda tight, like, I really like you." But I remember very fondly back when my daughter was a newborn, the first question you get asked is, "Are you sleeping?" And I always thought it was a backhanded comment. I'm like, "Are you, like, trying to rub it in my face? Do you wanna
Right.
give me a tip?" Like, how do I feel about this? And now I'm like, oh, that's the first question I ask because 'cause I'm just like, "Are you okay? Are you
Yes.
hanging in there?"
Yes, I mean, and I really don't know how, like, single parents do it. I genuinely there's so much, and you think like, "Oh, just put him down," like, that
Right.
no, that's, like, not a thing.
That's me, like, I swear I don't even remember the first 3 months of my daughter's life. So now I think back, I'm like, "Why did I think it was so hard?" Like, I could have just set her down, she wouldn't crawl away, like, she would have been
Right.
there if I came back, but it's like, you just have this, like, fog over those memories, those newborn memories, but it gets so much better, and I feel like every phase I get to, I'm like, "Oh my god, this is better than the last," and it keeps getting that way. So, like, there is always a light at the end of the
I
tunnel,
love it.
but
I need
the
that.
newborn first 8 weeks are a little tough.
Yeah, I'm glad you said you don't really remember because I don't. Like,
Yeah,
I'm like, "How did I tell my siblings that he was born?" Like, I genuinely don't remember. Did I text them? Did I
no.
call them? I don't know. Like, I wonder how that went. I wonder what the conversation was like because I have no idea.
Which I think our bodies do that to, like, prepare us to have more kids.
I know, which
Like,
now
you
I'm
know
like,
what?
they are really cute.
Yeah, they are really cute, and then when they're sleeping and they're peaceful,
Yes,
maybe not during the truck driver snoring
right.
situation, but aside from that, absolutely. So how are you feeling stepping into football season after such a big life change?
You know what? It's a good question because I feel like there's 2 parts of me, like, genuinely, I feel so excited to go back to work because it's almost like you're unsure, can you still do that? Even though it's just been 8 weeks, it's like, am I still capable?
Mhm.
Can I still flex those muscles? But I'm obviously, like, terrified to leave him. Thank God my husband is amazing, but, like, I'm like, "Is he gonna forget me? Is he gonna like me when I come back? Is he gonna, like, be mad that I left?" And I know those are unhinged thoughts,
Mhm.
but I just have them. But I think what's been really, really great is throughout my career, everyone at Fox that I work for with football and everyone at UFC, they've always been like, when you decide to have kids or when you're blessed with kids, if that's what you want, like we're going to make it work for you. And so I've always like felt confident in that, and that's been really helpful throughout. And then you just like find time in the day to do your prep. Like what did I do before I had a kid? Like I wasn't busy.
I have no idea. I was asking my husband that same question because I look back and I'm like, "I thought I was busy."
Right.
All I had were 2 dogs. I was like, "Yeah, I have to take them for walks," and, like, somehow I occupied every second of my day, and
Yes.
now it's crazy because what you can get done now in a 15-minute time period is, like, what you accomplished in an entire day before you had a baby.
Yes, it's insane. And so I like as I was easing back into like prep work and notes and kind of watching film and reading stuff, I'm like, "Oh my god, I don't know how I'm going to do it." And then last night, like the baby's sleeping, my husband jumped in the shower. I was like, "I'm going to do 15 minutes on Mike Evans," like and it was
Yes.
great. It was super productive. And
Yeah.
so and that makes me feel good, and I think everyone I work with at Fox, almost everyone who's a reporter is also a parent. And so that's really helpful too, to kind of see those examples and have people to lean on. And so I'm really excited. And football is so fun, and it's such like a family oriented thing in our country that
Mhm.
it kind of gives me this beautiful thought of like, okay, as he grows up, he's going to be able to come to games or watch the games I'm working. And, that just kind of gives extra motivation. But ask me next week after I fly back how I am. Like, am I losing it on my Delta flight home? Maybe.
Yeah, there might be a small chance. I think the first few times, like, you leave your newborn, it's definitely hard, but I think it get this is something I probably shouldn't say, but I'm like, it gets harder because, like, when they're like, "Mama, don't go," you're like, "Oh my gosh, the guilt." But then
Yes.
once you leave, you're like, "Okay, they're fine, they're
Right.
fed, they're happy." Yeah, exactly. I'm like, "You're probably having more fun than you would be if I was at home."
Right,
So
right.
there's so many challenges when it comes to being a working parent, but it's so nice to hear that, like, you're like, at Fox, they were so just like, "Yeah, like, let us know, and we'll work with you, and we'll make it work for you."
Yeah, it was amazing because I remember years ago, somebody said, "Do you not have kids because of your career?" And I said, "No, we just haven't had kids yet." And they were like, "Okay, because I want you to know, like, it will never stop you from accomplishing anything you want." And that always stayed with me, always. I
Mhm.
remember exactly where we were when they said that to me, and that always stayed with me. And so I've been really fortunate that that's also been the reality, not just something that was said to me, but also, has been shown in my real
Right.
life then.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you hear the horror stories of women, like, going through postpartum or needing to take extra time off, and the companies they're working for are not as understanding, and it's so unfortunate because it's like women don't have like, it's not equal to men, right? Like, they're not going through pregnancy and all these changes and their hormones. It's like we're wired to respond to every
Yeah.
cry, and it's kind of insane, and so it's so unfortunate, but it's good to hear that, like, that you have had such a great experience because I do know that as a working mom myself, it is so key to, like, my happiness to have something outside of, like, my motherhood identity, and, like, I love working, and it fills up my cup so that I can pour back into my family.
1,000%. And even though like I'm just easing into things the past couple of weeks, I have very much felt like that. Like, I feel like a better version of myself when I can, like, remember what not only I love, but what I'm good at. And then
Yeah.
I felt like that during pregnancy too. Like, I would get kind of, people, the internet has lots of opinions, and I'm sure they'll have
Well,
opinions when they see me back,
terrifying.
but like when I was, especially when I was super pregnant and working, like, I loved it. I felt empowered. It was a great distraction from being uncomfortable, and it was just like, what else? What am I going to sit on the couch again?
Right?
And so it's just like being able to do those things like reminded me of who I am, and like that as women we're multifaceted. There's all these different, sides to us and capabilities, and like no one can multitask better than a woman. So like,
Right?
it
I'm
might
like,
as
we're
well.
not asking men the same question. I remember being 8 weeks and I was on a red carpet in a skin tight dress. I was like, "What?" Number 1, what was I thinking?
Oh my
And number
god.
2, I had people asking me like, "Why aren't you home with the baby?" I'm like, "Well, why weren't you asking my husband that 2 weeks after she was born? Like, where was that same energy?" But I
Yep.
wanna take a second to talk about pregnancy because you were working up until a week before you were due.
Yeah.
What was it like working through pregnancy in such a high travel, high energy job?
You know what? It was so fun. And for me, like It was really good because we really struggled to get and stay pregnant throughout the years, and
Mhm.
so when you live in that reality, it's hard to think about anything else. It's
Right.
hard to whether you had just suffered a loss or whether you're hoping a pregnancy stays. It's kind of all your mind revolves around, and so to have a distraction, and for me, distractions that are so fun, like my broadcasting jobs are not just fun because of what I get to do and who I get to talk to, but like who I work with is so enjoyable and really feels like another form of my family that like those distractions and then once people found out that support is it it made things easier than if I didn't have a job at all, genuinely.
Mhm.
Because if I was just at home and like that was kind of my day to day to think about, it would not be good because when I had too much time on my hands, it was not great for my
Yeah,
mental
you
health.
overthink everything.
Yes, and then I'm like, "Wait, did I feel like this yesterday? Should I call the doctor?" You know? And you're just like, "Did I do this wrong? Wait, did I?" You know, and it's just it becomes all consuming, and rightfully so, but also there's a limit as to what's, okay and normal. I wasn't allowed to travel because I was high risk. I wasn't allowed to travel after like 29 weeks, which
Okay.
did help, I think, the anxiety. So I wasn't like on flights where I'm like, am I going to go into labor or am I making things worse? But
Yeah.
because UFC is based in Vegas and I live in Las Vegas, I was able to continue to work so much. And it was honestly great. Like the distraction was great, but also the way other women reacted was it felt like the most important thing I ever did in my life, like, to have other women be like, "Holy shit, seeing you, like, made me feel better," or, "I'm pregnant and now I feel less guilty," or, "I want to have kids and now I feel like there's an example of being able to do it." You just think like, "Oh, this is my job, I'm just going to work," but to hear the way other people responded to
Oh,
it,
yeah.
like, was so important to me and felt so good that I'm like, I'm so glad I did it, and for me, it was selfishly a great thing, and it felt really empowering. I'm like, I feel healthy, my doctor is right here,
Yep.
I'm cleared, I'm
Right on
going
point.
twice a week. Yeah, like, "Do you wanna come to the fight just in case?" And
Right?
so it was great, and, like, I felt totally normal, like, I that Saturday I worked, he was born only a week later. I felt really normal, just, like, a little slower. Like,
Yeah,
walking to my location was a
a
little slower.
waddle.
Right, yeah, exactly, but otherwise, it was great, and so, highly recommend as long as you're cleared, like, the distraction, A+, plus, and then you'll forget, like, how much your entire body hurts.
Exactly. Yeah, you're like, towards the end of the night, you start to see your ankles blow up a little bit, but that's besides
Right,
the point.
right, my ribs felt broken, but it's okay.
Yeah, you're like, "It was great, though." I kind of wanna compare it to, like, you know how they say, like, "Oh, before you're pregnant and, like, then you get pregnant, don't start, like, a new workout routine or, like, anything new in your life." It's like your body was used to working all the time, and it's like,
Yes.
just keep it going.
That is the best comparison I've ever heard. That's exactly it. It was like, I
Mhm.
wasn't doing anything different. This is just my life.
Yeah, your body was like, "No, no, no, thank you,"
Yeah,
because, this
yeah,
is, like,
yeah.
we still need this.
Otherwise,
So
you just sit there obsessing.
exactly. So then how did you approach maternity leave? So, like, was it harder or easier stepping away than you imagined?
It was actually a little bit of both, but I wanna say it was easier than I thought it would be. I think, at least me, I have FOMO a lot. I'm like, "Wait, I wanna do that," or like, "I miss my friends," or,
Yep.
"Wait, we went to New Orleans? I love New Orleans," and so I thought, like, oh, and what are these feelings that I'm gonna have before? Because when I couldn't travel, but I was not yet, he wasn't yet here. I definitely had like, oh, I wish I was there, or like I could be
Yeah.
doing a great job with this. And everyone who filled in for me has been phenomenal. They've done a terrific job. The team is fantastic, but once he was here, like, I was watching with him in my arms, and I didn't feel like I needed to be anywhere else,
Mhm.
and so that was really helpful. Like, there were times where I'm like, "Oh, I would have loved," for instance, one of our fighters that we're really close to, his name's Dustin Poirier. He retired, and I had worked with him for probably close to 15 years, and so I would have loved to have that last interview with him.
Right.
So that's the kind of stuff I missed, but, like, nothing made me feel like I should get up and put my newborn down, to be there.
Right.
So, I felt like it was exactly what it needed to be, and again, that was, like, also due to how I've been made to feel like, hey, your job's still there when you come back, and that's
Mhm.
not a feeling everybody's able to have.
Yeah, absolutely. So then what are some adjustments you're anticipating making, and, like, what kind of support do you have around you heading into, back into work?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So, my husband is the MVP. God bless him. I ended up having a C-section that I wasn't expecting after 40 hours of labor.
Oh,
Yeah, like,
no.
let's do both. Let's do both.
Yeah.
Try 'em both
Oh,
on. Uh,
great.
right, and we don't have any family here, and so it was just the 2 of us, and I didn't anticipate that, and I was deathly ill for several days. They kept me in the
Oh,
hospital because I couldn't stop throwing up. So he had to do literally everything. And poor guy was like so sleep deprived, he was delirious. Um, and he has just been like such an equal partner. And you hear these stories of men who are like, I don't change diapers, or I don't do the newborn phase, or we
dude,
sleep,
that gives
we
me the ick.
yes, and then and you never like, I never expected that from my husband, but I'm just like, I don't really know how it goes, and I don't you don't know how many diapers need to be changed. You don't get it until you live it.
Right.
And so, thankfully, he has been just such an literally, I don't know what would have happened if he wasn't, such a strong partner in terms of carrying the weight when I couldn't. And then we also, before, he was born, and we ended up adjusting the schedule a little bit. Excuse me, we hired a postpartum doula. So her
Mm,
name's Tiffany, and she is a godsend. I
yeah.
don't like because I also like have never taken care of a newborn. You don't really know what's normal. You don't really even know how to establish a routine because you're
Yep.
just surviving. And so a couple nights a week she would come and she would teach us about him, show us like, "Hey, in the next few days, start trying this." There was never any judgment, there was never any pressure, and we were able to, especially with the recovery and how sick I was, we were able to kinda get on our feet a little bit quicker than if she
Absolutely.
wasn't there, and so she'll continue, when especially when I'm not here to make sure that my husband is not, solo parenting for the
Totally.
weekends or whatever, because although he's fully capable, that's a
Fully
huge load
capable,
to
but
ask.
nobody should have to do it alone.
Exactly, exactly. And we have great friends, but they all have their own lives and our families are just really far away. And so that has given me so much relief and confidence of just like, okay, everyone's gonna be all right when I leave, like they're all
Yeah.
gonna be fine. I'm barely gone, it's 1 or 2 nights a weekend and they're gonna be fine. And then I come back Sunday night and then because I'm like, my husband said, "Well, do you want help on Sunday or Monday?" I'm like, "No, because I'm gonna miss the baby. Like, I don't care how tired I am. Like, I want to see him, So,
Yes.
and I'm sure it'll be a lot of FaceTimes and like text me 1 million pictures every hour. And I think we're both anticipating that. But otherwise, I just feel like asking for help, is not necessarily something I've always done in my life, but it's now something I realize impacts like more than just me. And so I'm so glad I was able to do it, and I feel grateful because otherwise I don't know what the journey would look like.
Yeah, I love that you said it impacts more than just you, because I feel like I'm very similar to you in that I kinda like to do it all myself. I take pride in doing things
Same.
a lot on my own, and it makes me feel powerful. When it comes to postpartum, I thought about hiring a postpartum doula, and I was like, "No, I got it." And I also knew I was getting a C-section because she was breech. And now looking back, I actually wanna hit myself.
Yeah,
I wanna punch
yeah,
myself in the face, because not only was I struggling, my husband was struggling, we're both sleep deprived, and of course, like, at that point, I'm like, "Oh, no, if I have to get up, buddy, you have to get up too." And I
yes.
mean, he wasn't working, I wasn't working at that time, so we're just, like, kinda going through it together. But now, looking back, I'm like, "Oh, if you don't have a village, like family, friends surrounding you, you have to make your own village, and that shouldn't be a bad thing." It's just that some people live closer to their families and like a bigger support system, and if you don't, you should build that if you have the means to. So next time I'm like,
1,000%.
I will have a postpartum do I need somebody to change my diaper.
I
Like,
don't know how I'm genuinely in awe right now. I don't know how you did it because the C-section life alone is absurd, and then you're
crazy.
trying to take care of another life and you don't have extra help. I okay. Allison,
No, I don't even
bravo to you, but also let's not do that again.
yeah, yeah, let's let's not do that again. If you guys have been following along on my social media, you would know that I am training for a marathon, and training in and of itself can be really difficult. It's definitely like a mental struggle some days, especially when you look down at your watch and you're like, oh, I have to run 10 miles and it slowly ticks by. But something so important when it comes to training for a marathon is shoes. And I'm talking about comfortability, just like the ease of knowing you're going to throw on a pair of shoes. You're not going to have to worry about it because I'm already worried about the mental aspect. I don't want to have to worry about the physical. So I have been in love with Asics, okay? I have a few different pairs of Asics right here. I'm holding in my hand. I have the gel 1130s, and these are more of like the everyday throw on with a pair of jeans, like cute, stylish lifestyle shoes. But for running, I have been loving my gel Nimbus 27s. They hug my feet in the right way. It's kind of like they're hugging with every single movement. And Asics believes that movement is what brings us together. So each step forward becomes a journey towards something more community, more connection, more miles. It's not about the number of miles you go, it's about the miles that you share. So you can move your body, move your mind with Asics, and movement is power. Like whenever I go for a run, I feel so much more clear, like in my head and my thought process. And the feeling of being done when I'm moving my body is something I can't even explain, like looking down at my watch and being done with 10 miles. So I truly believe that movement aligns year round with mental health and wellness. And it's good, like a daily run, recovery day, casual stride. Asics shoes are engineered to support your growing mileage. So as you guys can tell, I'm a huge fan of my Asics. If you are interested, be sure to visit asics.com and use code SUNDAY at checkout for $10 off your order of $100 or more. Exclusions may apply. If you guys follow me on social media, you know that I love Coterie diapers. I've been using them since my daughter was a newborn, and now she's in size 6. And I'm like, that should be illegal for a kid that's not even 2 years old. But I can just trust that I'm not going to have any leaks. They're going to hold up. And they're honestly just my favorite. And now they're taking baby care from top to bottom because they have a new skincare line that I can use for my daughter as well, and it's designed for sensitive skin from day one all the way to toddler. So newborn to toddler, we all know that baby skin is so delicate. Their microbiome, their skin barrier, it's all developing. And I'm a big believer that a long, complicated routine can potentially cause a little bit more unbalance. And Coterie developed a very minimalist routine with this gentle, less is more philosophy in mind. I have to say, I love these products so much. I got to try out their products before they were released, and I was so excited. I was telling all of my friends, I was like, no, 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 like this is releasing on this date. I'm so excited about it. Their Bun Balm, so good. It's so moisturizing. And I have to admit, I use it for myself as well because it's just that good. So they have in their skincare line the First Wash, which is a tear-free hair and body wash that leaves everything very silky. A soft cream lightly but so effectively moisturizes both face and body. And the Bun Balm is this gorgeous occlusive balm that I love not only for diaper changes, but for dry patches all over. And I just mentioned also myself. And I love that these take a lot of that guesswork out by being hypoallergenic, dermatologist tested, made without fragrance or parabens, cruelty free, vegan, and microbiome friendly, and pH balance. So I know us parents, when it comes to our children, we are always looking for the best. And I am such a big fan of this new Coterie skincare line. So if you guys are interested in checking it out, head to coterie.com and use code SUNDAY20 at checkout for 20% off your first order at coterie.com. I cannot rave about Symbiotica enough. I am such a fan of this supplement and wellness company. Such a big fan. I rave to everybody about it. And my favorite thing is that their supplement packets are packets. So they're on the go. It's so easy whenever I'm on the go, whenever I'm traveling. I just throw a few packets in. I don't have to worry about anything spilling or like dividing out pills. It's super easy, quick, and if you're just like running and doing errands, you can also grab it, throw a few in your car, whatever you want. It's perfect for on the go. Some of my favorite supplements is one, the NMN supplement. I rave to everybody about this supplement. If you haven't tried it yet, I highly recommend trying it out. It just like I can just tell when I go a day without it because it gives me a lot of energy. I feel more clear-minded. I take it every single morning before I go for my morning run and it just feels good. Okay, that's the best way I can describe it. But a few other products that I love from them is one, their liquid colostrum. So this is going to help support hair, skin, and nails, and it helps maintain a healthy gut lining. It also supports a healthy immune system. So for the people on the go, this could be key into adding into your supplement routine. And the vanilla is vanilla sea salt. So very, very tasty. That's another thing I love about Symbiotica is that I almost remember to take my supplements because they taste good and I look forward to tasting them. I also love their magnesium L-threonate, and the benefits here are that it enhances focus, reduces brain fog, it balances mood, it can be calming, helps support stress management, helps support a restful sleep, and it comes in the flavor vanilla cream. And it is liposomal delivery, so faster nutrient absorption. Again, if you guys can't tell, I'm the biggest fan of Symbiotica and I highly recommend checking them out. Go to symbiotica.com/Sunday for 20% off plus free shipping. That's symbiotica.com/Sunday for 20% off plus free shipping. I'm sure it's so like relieving for you knowing like your husband could do it on his own. He's fully capable, but knowing that you're not coming back to your husband and newborn crying because they're both overstimulated,
Yes.
I'm sure that's gonna
Yes.
make like getting back to working a little bit easier.
1,000% because I don't like I'm like, what would I have done? I think I would have had to fly a family member in or something. And then what are
Yeah.
you doing that weekly? Um,
Then it gets expensive and you're like, "Can I what's going on?"
yes, might as well just everybody come with me. And so no, I feel like it's allowed me to breathe out and focus on the task at hand because I know that everything's going to be all right at home.
Right. Yeah. No, I love that. Okay, so let's get a little bit into being a sideline reporter. So you're a sideline reporter for Fox Sports. What exactly goes into a sideline reporter's prep for game days? Is it very intensive?
Yes, at least I take it as something very
Yep.
intensive. I'm just trying to consume any and all media that I can. Particularly in the beginning of the season, it can be a ton because these are the first games you're hearing from people for the start of this season. And also, as you go on, like for instance, I'll have the Bucks a couple of times in the beginning of the year, I'll have the Lions a couple of times in the beginning of the year. So you can kind of like parlay what you've already done in terms of prep and just update it, add to it, whereas
Right.
you're building your foundation and your arsenal in the beginning weeks. And so for me, it's just a lot of trying to hi buddy, my dog just came in. Trying to like consume as many interviews as I can. We get we get something called like the daily clips where anything that's written about the teams that you have covering that week is sent to you, and so it's tons of reading research. And then I like to request players throughout the week. I'll try to ask for 3 to 5 players. Can I talk to them on the phone? Can I zoom with them really quick, and just get like additional information on
Right.
them and hear from their personal perspective. It's not something that I'm seeing on YouTube that they've already told somebody else. These are
Right.
real questions that I can ask, and so that always helps my team as well be prepared. And then on Sundays, it's like, who can I grab? Any and all, coaches, players, coordinators, whoever you can talk to on the field. And that's always tricky, right? Because they're showing up for work. It's their
Yeah.
they're there in the office. And I know the last thing they want to do is answer a question or two for me, but it's also like they know that's also part of my job.
Yeah.
So it's where can you compile as much personalized information on top of the important stuff, the statistics, the storylines that the general public already knows about, but you want to build upon. And so it's a lot, but it is so joyous to me because, as you know, and I'm sure you felt like this, is like being married to an athlete is incredible and it's great. And you want people to know their athletic accomplishments. But for me, I want people to know about the human being. What are the other
Yeah.
details of the story that I can tell? And so that's where like I've always approached my job as a sideline reporter and a sports reporter is like I'm going to give you all the important stuff you need to know, but also like I hope
Let's
you
make it
can.
fun.
Yes, and, like, learn the human side, like, besides, like, you think that they're gonna score you a lot of points in fantasy or, they play for your favorite team, like, here's a reason to care aside from all of that, and that's always, like,
Right.
the way I approach it as well, so I think for me, that's why things are so intensive and so layered.
Totally. I actually was watching the Notre Dame Miami football game this past weekend, and right before halftime, they grab I mean, both head coaches get interviewed. It stressed me out for the reporters because I'm like, like, if Notre Dame's down 2 touchdowns, they're not you think he wants to go and talk to a reporter about what his team is doing wrong and, like, how he needs to go in and fix it? No, he's thinking about what is in his head and what he's gonna say to his team to either, like, get them up and moving, get them motivated, or just kick him in the ass, like,
Yes.
something. And so that stressed me out.
It is such a delicate balance for sure because the great thing is, like, they know they have to do them, right? So, like,
Right.
whether it's a player interview before the game or coaches during the game or a player after the game, everybody is aware that this is a responsibility that we both have.
Yes.
But some coaches are a little more media savvy than others, which helps.
Right.
Sometimes, yes, you're in this terrible position and you're like, "Oh my god, okay, like how do I phrase this to get something out of them when I know they don't want to give me anything?" And it's understandable, right? Like these are
Yeah.
not ideal situations. I also feel like that a lot of times with our fighters with UFC if they do not win their fight and yet they're still doing an interview, like how are you sensitive about this, but also give them a platform to kind of say what they think went wrong or is going
Right.
wrong in the game if it's a coach? And so, yeah, it's a delicate dance. And I think what really helps is how you handle things with those coaches outside of that moment. So, like,
Yep.
how are you in the weekly meetings? How are you before the game? How are you after the game where they feel like safe and they kind of want to give you something
Right.
as opposed to like, this girl, I'm just gonna give her like a quick answer. You know what I mean? And
It's
so
almost
that's where I'm
them
always
getting
trying to
closer
balance.
to, like, the bad part in a way. You know how, like, if you break up with if somebody breaks up with you, you're like, "I wanna say my 2 cents." Like, if
Right.
you might not be in the place you want to, sometimes I feel like it helps to, like, talk it through. It's like a little
Yes,
therapy session.
exactly, and you'll notice that some coaches are like that, and then some are like, they'll give you the quickest answer they can possibly give, but that's also a story in itself, like, hey, he didn't wanna talk, he wanted to get right to the locker room, or he wanted to get right he ran right over to the, receivers unit or whatever it might be. There is always, like, a layer that you can figure out what they meant in that and whether it's just, like, 3
Right.
seconds. I remember, I was supposed to do a coach interview and, we didn't because he was, like, in a screaming match with the officials, and so
Love that.
that in itself is a storyline, you know what I mean? And then they put a camera on that, and it's like, "Well, I didn't interview him because he was busy," and so
You say something to professional, you're like, "I think he's having some, encouraging words with the officials right now, so
they're
back to you."
brainstorming. Yeah,
They're having
exactly.
a discussion over some of the play calls.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's all a delicate dance and it's about figuring out like, well, how can I present this truthfully and,
Right.
and go from there. So yeah, it is definitely an interesting scenario.
Do you think football season gets a little bit easier? Because I feel like in the beginning of a football season, you have a lot of new players, new faces on in different uniforms, and then you have all of these like brand new storylines. And I feel like until like week 7 or 8, like some of these storylines aren't even developing. You don't even know what stories are needing to be told. So do you think the like towards the middle or end of football season gets a little bit easier?
1,000%. You just nailed it. Because also, ultimately, at the end of the day, everybody's talking about who's going to make the playoffs, who's going to be the MVP, who's going to break what records. And so you're like, it's week 2. We're just trying to figure and like,
Yeah, you're like,
okay,
no.
maybe these teams didn't find success week 1, but it doesn't mean that they're also not gonna make it to the Super Bowl. So, it is really difficult because everybody's figuring it out. Everybody, new coaches, new
Mhm.
coordinators, old coaches and coordinators, new play whatever it might be, everybody's just trying to, like, become that well-oiled machine once again, and no matter how well the offseason goes, it's still an adjustment period for everybody. But it also I do like the beginning of the season. I do think it's kind of fun to have, like, the off-season stories, because that
Mhm.
always really intrigues me. Like, who works together? Where do they go? What were their highlights? I feel like every player had a baby as well this
Yeah,
off-season. So it's like there's so much to talk about, and that's only relevant the first week or two. So that makes it more fun.
totally.
But you're right, the middle towards the end of the season makes things a lot easier in terms of storytelling, in my opinion.
I love that. It's funny you say, like, I'm not gonna know who MVP is by week 2, but I since football is starting up, I'm gonna ask you some questions and you can give me your hot takes, and these
Okay,
can be, like, kind of like rapid fire questions.
sure.
Who is winning MVP this year?
Oh my god, it's such a good question because last year and down to the wire, I felt like it could have been any of, those 4 or 5 guys where you're just like, is it gonna be Lamar? Is it gonna be Joe Burrow? Is it gonna be Josh Allen? Is it gonna be Jared Goff? Like, there's
Right,
and I still kind of feel like throw Saquon in there. I still feel like those are gonna be the standout performances. Those are gonna be the standout performers that are gonna throw their name into the hat for it. And genuinely, I don't feel like people would be mad at last year if it would have been kind of any of those guys, and I
right.
foresee that happening again, just the way the league stacked up, the way these guys have been playing year after year. So I think it's hard to pinpoint, but I think, those 5 guys, like, it's to be someone else, you're going to have one heck of a year, like the year
Right.
of your life to kind of beat out those 5 that we've seen in the past couple of
Mhm.
years, be the front runners.
I'm picking Jared Goff. He just had a daughter this offseason, so I think
Yes,
he's gonna be his little good luck charm. I'm picking Jared Goff all
I
the
love
way.
it, I love it.
Which team is going to be under the radar this season?
Hmm. Good question. I'm gonna actually throw this one out there. I love the Bucks right now. Just looking at like the every year they've improved their record season after season the past 2 seasons, but they also had a really big surge at the end of last season, 6-1. It felt like they really found their groove, and I think Baker is just becoming such a leader. Not that he wasn't before; we've seen that from him, but the way they're able to mesh and they have some incredible players that can carry the load, like Bucky Irvin, just like the way he kind of had this breakout year as a running back, and you have one of the best Buccaneers of all time in Mike Evans, who
Mhm.
has a lot to prove, I think, for what might be his final year. I love the way they play. I think obviously they are the front runners in their division, but I think they're under the radar in the rest of the NFL. I think people kind of aren't paying a lot of attention to the
Right.
NFC South, and so I could see them not only making the playoffs successfully, with a great record, but also going really far. I think they just seem like a fun group that understands what it takes to win, and they keep getting better, and I can see, we have these like these major teams like, of course the Chiefs and the Eagles and all these guys that you see habitually every year, but when
Right.
you can kind of get somebody else that's flying under the radar like Tampa Bay, I really really like what I've seen from them thus far and the way they've carried over every season, which I think we talked about with the Lions for many
Yep.
seasons, the way they've carried over and improved each year. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and I think they're under the radar right now. I don't think that they will be halfway through the season.
Ooh, I love that take. And then who's your Super Bowl matchup?
Oh, that is a great question. Okay, so I would love to see the Bills in the Super Bowl.
Same.
I
I
would
would love to see them in for them.
Yes.
Like, I think they really need that.
Yes, I have 0 connection to the Bills, right? Like, I'm not from there, I didn't grow up a fan, I don't even work any Bills games recently, but, like, I just their fan base, they all I loved watching Hard Knocks. They all just seem like really good people. They've hit this roadblock season after season after season when they're playing Kansas City, but I just think, like, seeing them in the Super Bowl would be huge, and then I'm gonna say, but I think the Eagles, I really think that they still
Ooh.
could do it, and I think Nick Sirianni is such a talented coach. I think Vic Fangio is such a great coordinator. They get the best out of their players. I mean, between Jalen and Saquon, I just think that they still have what it takes to go that far.
Mhm. Okay. I love that
Give me
take.
yours. Give me yours.
Ooh, I have to I'm choosing just my favorite teams at this
I
point.
love it.
I would love to see the Bills, but I think if you were to ask me, like, my ideal matchup, it almost happened, I think, 2 years ago. Chargers and Lions.
Oh,
Favorite teams, so I have to throw it out there. But I think I would like to see the Bills. I think that might be a team that I'm going to be keeping my eye on this football season because I really do think that they've had it so close and it's just kind of like slipped through their grasp. So I think with Josh Allen, like I think he might take his team to the Super Bowl this year. And I like
I
that.
Yeah, same. I have to say I love the Lions organization. Like, I hope personally that they make it to the Super Bowl as well, because working with them from when they had 1 win the entire season to where they are now, every person I've ever encountered in their organization has been gold star. They have been absolutely tremendous, and they haven't changed from those rough seasons to where they are now, from the PR team to everybody. Like, and from the players who were there when they were struggling, like, I really would love to see that magic happen as well. I'm glad you said that. And I think that they
Yeah.
deserve kind of like their credit for who they've always been as an organization, whether they were successful in the record books or not.
Yeah, I grew up a Lions fan, so it was a little hard, some of those years when you're going to all the football games and they're not really winning any.
Right.
But you know what? They're in my heart. So whether you're here for touchdowns, the tailgate, or just good times with friends, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, adds extra excitement to game day. Even if you're new to betting, it's simple and fun. Just pick a team or your favorite player. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SSC to get started. That's code SSC for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly with just a $5 bet, plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 8778-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer. My husband has been the biggest fan of Saxx men's underwear, and he's obsessed with it to the point of he's telling me how it feels down there for him, and I'm like, "Okay, we get it." But he is truly the biggest fan, so I wanna take a second to talk about them. You've got the shoes, the gear, the playlist, but men's underwear can sometimes feel like it's still stuck in 2009. Saxx Underwear is designed to move with you and not against you, with moisture control, next level breathability, and the ballpark pouch that keeps everything in its lane. It's performance from the base up because you don't cut corners in the gym. Why would you start with your underwear? You guys, I feel like this is the best gift you can get a guy. You can support his balls so that he can focus on what matters, which is you. They make a amazing gift because let's be honest, most guys don't buy new underwear until somebody else makes them. My husband, huge fan. So let's take it from him and see how your man likes them and feels comfortable in them. Let's see if he brags about them the way that my husband has been doing to me. Anyways, highly recommend. They have styles for every situation from lounging to high intensity sport, featuring technology like cooling cotton, breathable fabrics, and no ride up legs. It's worn by over 100,000 men and professional athletes alike. There's no chafing, no riding, no weird adjustment midday. Do you ever just look at your man and he's like readjusting? Like, let's stop that. Buy Saxx Underwear. And the New York Times Wirecutter has rated Saxx Underwear its top underwear pick 2 years in a row for a reason. So if you guys are interested in checking them out for your man or maybe for them for yourself, be sure to check out at Saxx. That's SAXX.com. You've also been a huge part in covering the UFC growth. So can you give us a quick rundown on like what the UFC is and how it works for people who have never followed before?
Sure. Yeah. So it's called the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And it does, if you're not familiar with it, it can sound like this barbaric thing. But really it's like the world's best athletes competing in mixed martial arts. That means that they can kickbox, box, wrestle, there's judo, there's taekwondo. And again, this is something they want to do. So I think we always have to like preface that when people see it for the first time, they're like, oh my God, why are they fighting each other? It's like, no, they want to do that. It's a test of skill. It kind of started out years ago as one discipline versus the other. What would reign supreme? Is kickboxing more superior than wrestling? And it really evolved into now just this incredible feat of athleticism, where kids today grow up not just doing one discipline of martial arts, where they will genuinely train mixed martial arts to hopefully one day make it to the UFC. And so these are athletes that wouldn't maybe have the size for other professional sports, but their capabilities are equal to them.
Mhm.
So, for instance, my husband fought in the UFC for about 15 years. He was a flyweight, which means he fought at 125 pounds. And he likes to say, I only weighed that for a couple of minutes. Um, but, he is this world class athlete, but he can't play in the NFL. Like he's not going to be in the NBA. And so
Mhm.
this is where you see a lot of collegiate wrestlers, collegiate soccer players, high level athletes that maybe are just a bit smaller, or in terms of our heavyweights, that are just drawn more to the one-on-one competition as opposed to a team
Right.
sport. And so the UFC has both women and men, multiple weight classes, and it's really just like a test of skill. It can be 15 to 25 minutes of fighting. Things can end by knockout, by submission,
That's
by
a long
decision.
time.
It really is. So it's 5-minute rounds. They get a minute in between each round, and it's genuinely some of the best people that you will ever come across. I always say not everything in your life went perfectly if you end up a fighter. So usually they have really interesting background stories. They've overcome so much, or they just like really love one-on-one competition. And so it is. We travel the world. It's crazy because our president Dana White, he has a saying. It's like we don't all speak the same language, but everyone understands fighting. Like if you
Mhm.
see a fight, even in a hockey game, you kind of know who's winning and losing, or you're cheering for one person or the other. That's essentially what it is. But we go all around the world. I've been to so many different countries and cities and met so many incredible people. And our athletes, people would probably be familiar with somebody like Ronda Rousey, who really brought the women's division years ago and was just an absolute pioneer. And then,
Mhm.
Conor McGregor a couple of years ago was
Yep.
the big star. And now I think through COVID, because we were the only sport that really continued, it's become something that people watch, yes, for their favorite fighters, but also because now it's just a sport that people are really in tune with. So on
Right.
Saturday nights, you know that there's a fight. It's been so amazing for the crossover between NFL and UFC for me, because so many football players love UFC and so many UFC fighters love
Right.
the NFL that they do a lot of cross training. I'll see some of our athletes at one event as opposed to the other. Like in the off season of the NFL, they're just 1 million players at our fights.
Right.
And it's the best. And it kind of helps, in both ways. It's like, hey, I'm here and now I'm over here. And so I'll have guys talk to me about both things, which is really helpful. But if you are new to the UFC and you are like, I don't think that's for me, I would encourage you to watch maybe 1 hour of a broadcast. Right now, ESPN is our broadcast partner. We'll be transitioning over to Paramount and CBS in 2026. But I'd encourage you, because I think not only is our production outstanding, but the storytelling and getting to know the athletes and why they signed up for this,
Yep.
unique job,
Yeah.
is something that I think most people will then be so pleasantly surprised about, that traditionally maybe they would be a more judgmental as to who's participating in this, who's watching this. But I think
Mhm.
once you're able to really sink your teeth into it, it becomes something so respectable. And I talk to a lot of women who are like, oh, my husband would have it on. And then I finally sat down and watched it and now I love it. And so
Right.
that's been really cool. And I would encourage you, just try. It's not for everybody, but I think it's for most people.
Yeah, I love that. How do you think the energy of a UFC fight night compares to NFL Sunday?
It's they're so tremendously different, but they're also very similar in senses. Like Saturday night at a fight, if you're attending in person, it's unlike anything else. I kind of say it's like a sporting event plus a show in one, because between fights, we're doing all this stuff, on the screens and in-house that we don't
Right.
show at home. And so it's fun, it's a vibe. It feels like a Saturday night. And it's a young crowd traditionally. And then a lot of times I'll go from Saturday night to Sunday morning for football. And, Sunday just feels like you're participating in something with the entire country.
Yeah.
Like Saturday night feels like a party, and Sunday feels like, okay, this is a family gathering. Like
Yeah.
we are all here together. Like everyone in America is doing this.
That's
And
crazy.
so there's still like crazy high energy at both. I would say Sunday feels like a little more concentrated, whereas like Saturday just feels like fun for hours. It feels like Sunday, once the game kicks off, is like very concentrated to, that field.
Right.
But I do feel like, yeah, like Saturday's the party you go to with your friends, and then Sunday is like we're all together as if for family
Like
lunch or
family
something.
brunch.
Yeah.
Being that you are married to a former UFC fighter, do you think it changes the way that you view the sport?
100%. And I'm so grateful for it.
Mhm.
I think the way I view athletes in general is totally different than most people, because, as you know, it's not just that game or that fight. It
I
is
wish.
yes, exactly. It's the years of labor and focus that goes into accomplishing goals. And it's the, hours and hours after practice, or it's laying awake in bed at night thinking about exactly what you're going to do in every scenario. And it's the blood, sweat and tears and the heart that goes into everything. So while some people might say, oh, they just didn't win their fight, like, no, that changes their whole life forever. Like,
Mhm.
to somebody it was just something that happened on Saturday or a game that happened on Sunday, but that will live with them forever. And
Yeah.
so I always just try to approach it as like as humanly as possible. And I say that like meaning as sensitively, as understanding that like even if you had a great game or a great fight, you won't hang on to that because our world doesn't let you. It's always what's next. It's
Yep.
already how can I prepare? And that's something I always try to say to our athletes, like have fun, enjoy these moments, because I feel like they don't a lot of the time. I feel like it's just like
No.
I have to find success here. As soon as I do, I'm moving on. If I don't find success, my life is over and I have to rebuild and now I have to focus even harder. And so
Yeah.
I just try to be ultra, ultra sensitive, and no matter who I am speaking to, I imagine that is my husband Joseph across from me. What would I want people to ask? How would I want people to ask it? How would I want people to treat him, to give
Mhm.
him the platform to speak his own truth or to
Right.
explain himself, whatever it might be? It's my job to like throw up the softball as easily as possible for them to hit the home run. And so if I can always lead with that kind of empathy and sensitivity or like awareness, then I feel like I am doing my job to the best of my abilities. And it's something that I will never
Mhm.
change, because I think we have enough like hard hitting, people out there who are going to
Right.
like, hey, this guy said this about you. What do you think? For me, I'm just always trying to approach it as like, how can I get people to care about you, the human being, and give you the platform to show who you are?
Love that. I truly love that. It's like it's more so seeing the athlete as a whole, like they have like the game, but then they have so much outside of the game that they're focused on as well. So it's kind of like painting that full picture for the viewers, because I think that's almost like what the viewers are more interested in anyways. Like some people
Yes.
give a shit about stats and most people are like, I want to hear like more of like the well-rounded picture of who this is.
Absolutely. And I also think it's how we draw more people into interest, whether it's football or mixed martial arts or any sport or really any part of life, is how do you get people who are interested right now to be interested?
Mhm.
And it's like, give them a reason to care. And that's built in. These
Yeah.
athletes are the reason to care. You just have to give them the opportunity to share their story.
Love that. And then before we wrap up, I have one more question, then we're gonna get into some rapid fire
Okay.
questions. When you look at your journey from years of trying to have a baby to now reporting on the NFL and UFC while being a new mom, what are you most proud of?
Oh god, you're gonna make me cry because it has
The
if any
postpartum hormones.
yeah, and also, if anybody's ever gone through the fertility journey or the, infertility journey, I should say, it is the most heartbreaking, heart-wrenching thing that you could ever imagine, and it's difficult to explain it, but if you've lived it, you know. And
Mhm.
so, genuinely, I think part of me felt like, is this ever going to be my reality? You'd watch people with their babies, and I'm so glad for somebody like Erin Andrews who spoke up about her journey to kind of make you feel less alone. And there's all, there's
Yep.
all these people who have been in the same boat and you're unaware.
Right.
And
'Cause
so
it's such a, like, a secretive struggle. It's you don't see it on their skin, you don't see it on someone's face, it's so behind the scenes, and it's something a
yes,
lot of women deal with.
100%. And I'm not sure why we don't talk about it. Even to this day, I'm like, why didn't I share that? Like, I worked this event and I had just miscarried, or why don't I say that? And it's weird, but I think it's also somehow us protecting ourselves in those
For sure.
moments of just like, how can I get through this? And so now that I'm on the other side and I have a child, number one, my first thought is like, there's still people struggling. And I always like want to be sensitive to that. Of like, if you're in that journey right now and it feels like you won't find, the end of the road, like you will, but also do what you need to do. Like I muted really good friends on Instagram who had kids because it was so hard for me to see.
Yeah.
I stopped doing certain Peloton instructors classes when they were pregnant, like because mentally I couldn't
Yeah.
handle that. And I hope that people make those choices if they feel like that's what they need for their mental health. But now genuinely, it all feels like a dream. Like when I wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning, like last night to change Vito and feed him, like he's smiling at me. Like I will do that for the rest of my life. And I
Mhm.
will fit in 15 minutes to do, Atlanta Falcons research or watch videos. Like I will go without whatever I need to because every dream I have, I feel like came true. And you think like career wise when you're a young woman, like, oh my God, now I get to like report on the NFL, or now I'm the lead reporter for the UFC, and like this is my dream come true. But like I didn't feel like any of that until my son was born. And then you just feel like you can do anything, you'll do anything
Yep.
for them. And then it's like I want to be an example of like he can also do anything. And so that's why I
Yeah.
work so hard, and that's I genuinely feel like all of my dreams have come true, and I think part of me has to keep pinching myself of like I have a baby, and like
It's
it's
crazy.
it's the most amazing
I
thing
don't think it
after.
ever, like, becomes real, though. Like, I'm still like, "Wow, I have a child." It's
Yeah, also, who
so
let us be teenage moms? Weird.
I literally say that all the time. I'm like, you don't assume I'm the babysitter? This is crazy."
Wait, I'm in charge?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's literally a dream come true, and, like, I just keep pinching myself because for so many years I would be like, "I just wish this would happen for us," or we'd think it was happening and that would get ripped away, and now that it's really happened, I think you have a much bigger sense of gratitude, and, like, I don't care how many diapers I have to change, I don't spit up all over me, like, I don't
Right.
care, and I also, said this the whole time to my therapist during my pregnancy is I loved being pregnant because I realized what a miracle it was every day that
Mhm.
the pregnancy continued, that all these things are happening in my body, and then I can have a perfect son. I think if you didn't maybe have those struggles, it's hard to recognize what a
Right.
miracle it really is every moment. And so now I'm just like, I was pregnant during the NFL season and now I have a baby. Like, let's go. And it's just it's better than I could have ever imagined. And I don't care how much sleep I don't get or what sacrifices I have to make. It is everything I ever wanted and more.
Oh my gosh, I love that, and I think a lot of women are going to be able to relate to that as well. Okay, well, let's jump into some rapid fire
Yeah.
questions. Sideline reporting in the snow or in 100-degree heat?
Oh, snow for sure.
Really? You live in
Yes.
Vegas, that's so
Yes,
surprising.
because, like, sweating, you can't really hide on camera, and, like, when you are just sweating through your shirt, it is a tough time, but, like, you can bundle up with the snow, you can, like I don't like, no one's expecting you to look cute when you're in a snowstorm, and so I very much take that and it's fun.
Yes.
Like, I
Yeah.
think there's something to a snow game that's way more fun.
I love that. Okay, watching your husband's fight highlights or your sideline highlight reels.
Oh, his 100%. I'm so proud of him. I'm like, how do I even have a job? Meanwhile, I'm like, you are the greatest fighter that ever lived. And so, no,
I love
definitely his.
that. Coaching your kids' team or cheering from the sidelines.
Oh, I feel like I would love to coach. I played softball my whole life, and so I'm like, oh, if he plays baseball, like I would love to help coach and yeah. But also like, do I have the patience for other kids? I'm not sure.
Exactly, right? You're like, "Mine I can deal with, but,
Right.
it's a different story." Fantasy football quarterback, Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson?
Great question. I'm gonna go with Lamar. The way he
Kel
uses his legs too, I just feel like
a crazy athlete.
yeah, just undeniable, so I'm going Lamar.
Love that. Kelsey brothers or Manning brothers?
Oh, this might be the hardest question I've ever been asked, because I'm a big Swiftie, and my husband and I are giant Swifties. Seen her in concert many times, but I grew up a Giants fan. I wore an Eli Manning jersey, and he was my first NFL post-game interview, and
Wow.
I was this young, terribly nervous reporter, and he was so kind and patient and gave me great answers that I don't know had Eli not been as wonderful as he was, I don't know if my NFL career would have gone as well as it has. And so I'm going to go with Manning Brothers. They're also so funny. Like they're
That's
so funny.
hilarious.
Yeah, I love them.
Week 1 hope or the chaos of week 17?
The chaos of week 17, particularly if it's an important game. You can just cut the tension with a knife, and
Love
the
it.
way I think everybody like week 1 is maybe more fun, but week 17 is just unlike anything else.
Absolutely. All right, and that's it. Where can the people find you when it comes to socials?
Oh, at Megan Olivi, Olivi, on Instagram. I don't really use X, but I'm there, and I'm trying to figure out TikTok, but I feel too old for it. But here we are. Yes, so basically Instagram, but the same handle everywhere.
And then last but not least, we have a little social question.
Okay.
Who is your pick for the most exciting NFL player to watch this football season?
Okay, I'm going to give a unique answer because this is somebody that I want football fans who might not be privy to him to start watching. So, the player that I think NFL fans will find really exciting and should be watching if they aren't is a safety from the Kansas City Chiefs named Jaden Hicks. He's number 21. In his rookie season, he had 3 interceptions and picking off, guys like Brock Purdy. But now this is his second season, his sophomore outing. I think the sky's the limit for him. He's also one of our dear friends. His sister is one of my very best friends. I've seen his journey from high school to college to not being maybe drafted where he was expected to be and proving everyone wrong. So I've got to say, watch out for number 21 on the Kansas City Chiefs. Jaden Hicks had a standout rookie season. I think his sophomore outing is going to be even better.
Oh, I love that. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Congratulations on
Thank
your
you.
baby. Oh my gosh. Get some sleep. And thank you guys so much for tuning into Sunday Sports Club podcast every Sunday, wherever you get your podcasts.